Okay, I am just still not feeling well at all. So I am making this video in case I have a sub tomorrow, or maybe I come in tomorrow and I just make you watch this video because I don't have the energy to teach a whole class. So I apologize and I am doing the best I can. I hope to be there next week for sure, and our test isn't for a while anyways. And sequences and series isn't an essential skill, and it's a pretty straightforward concept, so I have faith that you guys will be okay. So 8.3 was geometric sequences and series. Remember, a sequence is like comma, 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 right? A list of numbers. A series would be plus, 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 plus when you're adding them all together. So find the equation of the nth term. Obviously, we know this is geometric, but we want to check anyways. To get from here to here, you can multiply by -2. And from here to here, still multiply by -2. So that's what's happening. So our a sub n is equal to, it's just the first term that you see. So -3 times our multiplier, -2, and then always to the n minus 1. And here's why, right? This is n equals 1, n equals 2, etc. If I plug 1 in here, it's going to become 0. Anything to the 0 is just 1, and I get that first term. Excuse me. So you have to have n minus 1 in the exponent. Okay, number 2. From 5 to 5 halves to 5 fourths, so they're dividing by 2, but we always want it to be a multiplier, so they're multiplying by a half. Multiplying by a half. A sub n for sequence notation, the first term, 1/2, n minus 1. Okay, number 3, they literally give me everything I need to know. So they give me a1, and they give me r, and I'm just writing the nth term, which is the sequence equation. 4 times 1/3 to the n minus 1. Okay, number 4 is given to me in the recursive formula. So always start with listing out your sequence. So 4 is the first term, and then they take that term and multiply by 3. So 4 times 3 is 12. Then they take that term and multiply by 3. So every time they are multiplying by 3. So an is 4 parentheses 3 to the n minus 1. Okay, pause the video and try these on your own. In order to find the 6th term, well, first of all, we would need a calculator. If I want you to go all the way to the 6th, so feel free to grab a calculator really quick. It'll either be smaller numbers or worded differently on the test. If we need the 6th term, first we need to know the equation itself. So figure out a sub n for both of number 5 and number 6. Okay, so you have a sub n, the equation of the sequence. To find the 6th term, you're plugging 6 into the exponent, which is really 2 times 3 to the 5th, which I can't do without a calculator, but that's 486. The 6th term, 6 minus 1 is 5. I just did that part in my head. I can do this one without a calculator. 1 to the 5th is just 1. 2 to the 5th is 32. And 10 times 1 over 32 is 10 over 32. Okay, then we learned geometric and infinite geometric formula. You do need to just memorize this formula, and it is one that you need a calculator for. This test hasn't been written yet, so I don't know what we're going to do about the calculator thing. One thing we might do is just have you write it in the formula and not actually get the calculated answer. To get the answer, though, in general, we need to know a1, which is in the equation. Because this problem starts at 1, and if I plug in 1 and I minus 1, I get 0, which is going to make this 1, which is going to give me 3. The first term is 3. That's not going to be the case for number 8. We need to know r. R is literally just given inside the equation. And we need to know n. The same rule applies for n. Top minus bottom plus 1. So the formula is a1 times, parentheses is required, 1 minus parentheses is required, r, parentheses is required, raised to the 10th. Parentheses is required. All over parentheses 1 minus 2. If you do get a calculator and type that in, you get 3,069. For 8, I'm still going to call it A1, but you plug in the bottom to get A1. Squared. So negative 2 times 1/4, which is negative 1/2. Find R and N. 12 minus 3 plus 1 is going to give me 10. I've kind of cornered myself here. Let me move these for a second. So A1 times 1 minus R. Fractions have to be in parentheses. I keep telling you the parentheses are required, but especially when it's a fraction. If you type that in the way it's written really carefully, you get negative 0.999023. Again, only way to do that is with the calculator, and you need to be able to type it in correctly using all the necessary parentheses. Let me just move these to a new page. Okay. So if it wasn't mentioned, these ones were finite because they stopped at a number at the top. When it's infinite, there's a totally different formula. The good thing is the infinite formula is easier, but you have to remember to check. So we only need A1 and R. A1 for this problem, because they're starting at 1, you plug it in, that all goes away, is 5. R is still the number in parentheses. But you have to check, is that between negative 1 and positive 1? So is it a fraction between negative 1 and positive 1? Since it is, this is going to work, and it's A1 over 1 minus R. This is possible without a calculator. This is 5 over 1/2. We don't divide by fractions, we flip and multiply. That's a 1. And the answer is 10. But if you had a calculator, you could type it into your calculator. Number 10. A1 is still 4 again because they're starting at 1. They don't have to start at 1. That could have started at 3, and then you would plug it in to find A1. R is 3/2. To check for R. The formula only works if R is a fraction less than 1. So since R is greater than 1, 3/2 is bigger than 1, this has no sum. Especially on multiple choice questions, we're going to give you the answer you thought you could get. You could plug this into a formula and get an answer. There's nothing that says you can't plug it in. The problem is it's going to be the wrong answer. So don't forget to check first. Okay, I hope you guys are doing good, and I should definitely see you next class.